I mentioned yesterday in my video that I ended up in New York in a really roundabout way for New Year's. And really, it's all Asha's fault. She caused all of the problems. And like I said, I was in Texas for the holidays and I booked a flight out of Dallas on the 28th. And I was not able to fly with United. I have a letter that says I can fly with her, and Virgin has let me fly with her twice before. And I called United and they said no. And then I called Delta and they said yes. So I booked a flight on Delta and I got to the airport, and at the desk they said no. So I was there arguing with them for somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. It was a really big headache. And before I left, I had called American before because they were the other airline that I was going to fly back to Florida with, back to Tampa. And on the phone they said yes, and at the desk they said no. So I felt like I was stuck in Texas. My only other option that I could think of was to take a bus, and that was going to be a 30-hour ride, which sounds like not something that I was interested in, or anybody. Um, the longest I've spent on a bus prior to that was when I went to Atlanta, and that was a 12-hour ride, and that was plenty of bus for me. So I started thinking, and since I can fly with Virgin, they don't fly to Tampa, but they do fly to Orlando. So I looked at flights to Orlando, and they were unbelievably expensive. So I looked at flights to San Francisco and I looked at flights to New York, and I was able to fly to New York relatively inexpensively, and I decided just to do it. So Asha's going to stay with some family here while I fly down to Tampa by myself. And the point of this story is, if you have somewhere that you need to go or you have something that you need to do, there is almost always a workaround if you run into a major problem like that. So whether you are trying to get to your favorite coffee shop and they're closed and you have to go to one down the block. Or this past year, I wanted to compete in a bodybuilding show. I wanted to do my second bikini show in July, and I wasn't able to for a number of reasons. So rather than say, well, I'm just not going to compete this year, I waited until I was able to start training again, and I competed in a show in October. So even though it wasn't the show that I wanted to do, I was still able to reach my goal of competing again. And whether it's on a micro level like the coffee shop, or, a much bigger event to change like the bodybuilding show, no matter what it is that you have to do, the the message that I want to get across is to be stubborn and to be creative. So let me know what you've done in the past, what your kind of biggest or best or simplest workarounds have been. Let me know how you've been creative. I would love to hear what problems you have solved this year or just in general. So leave me a comment and let me know.